Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
We're hanging in.
Oh no, what's
I
going
know.
on? Big exhale and a hanging in. What's going on?
No, it's just I'm a little tired. Busy weekend. I just want to complain for a second. I don't want to go into the whole thing like we've done last time, but
Okay.
I, I've been using this new organizational method, this para method. I really
Oh
like it.
no. You're a second
It's
brain
very,
guy.
it's
Oh
very,
no.
it's very nice, right? Second Brain guy. I haven't even read the Second Brain book. I just read the para book, just organizing my notes. Okay, it's been great. It's the best organizational thing I've ever used. Love it.
All right. Color me skeptical. Carry on.
I don't even want to talk about that though. It's not even what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's excellent. But I did it all in Apple Notes because I was like, you know what? This way it's just everywhere.
Mm,
Hey, maybe like when they come up with the Apple Intelligence stuff, that'll be kind of cool because like it'll be all hook into other stuff on my phone and everything like that and in my account. And I was like, I get in today and I want to look at a note I wrote the other day, and
mm.
the note's not there. The
Yeah, I can't
note
look at the
is
notes.
not
No.
there.
You know how to take the notes, but it's the
So
keeping, it's the holding of the notes.
so the note is still on my phone, but it's not on my Mac.
Yeah.
And so I go through the whole dance. You know the dance, like disconnect the sync in the iCloud and turn the things off and reconnect it. But there's no sync button, right? You can't make
No,
it
no,
sync.
no.
There's
Too
no
magical for that.
errors. There's no nothing. So I knew, I was like, Notes has to be better by now, right? They can't still be doing all these things people complained about, but it's still doing them. It's still terrible, even though the app itself has gotten much better. I actually really enjoy the app. It's got a lot of nice features, but if you don't sync the notes, everything else is useless. So
Yeah, that feels
yeah,
like kind of a big part of the promise of the ecosystem is that it's
that's
going
a
to work
big
together.
part.
Yeah.
Why won't they give us a sync button? Give us a sync button. Even if it's hidden, hide it. Like you have save as hidden, fine. Hide it. I'm fine with that. I don't like it, but
You
fine. I'll be
use
fine
Apple
with it.
Notes on your desktop?
Yeah, well, if I write a note on my phone, I want to like a lot of times it's like work stuff, and I want to then like in this whole organizational method, right? Like I am because there's a lot of stuff in there. There's like
Right. I
work
don't think I've
notes in
ever
there and all
opened
that.
Apple Notes on my desktop.
Oh, interesting. It's
I don't
pretty good
even,
on the
I
desktop.
assume it's here. Let's see. Notes. Yeah, it's just here. And if I open it up, what's new in Notes? Yeah, I've never opened this app before in my life. It's giving me the start screen. So I'm going to just close that out.
Wait, do you use notes on your phone?
No,
Okay, you don't use notes at all.
no.
Okay, all right. Well, you
No,
shouldn't.
I think I have notes. I think I probably have one note every other year when it's like, oh shoot, where do I write this thing down? Let's open
Right.
notes on my phone and see what notes I have in there. I
But they should be on your
have
Mac. Why are they not showing on your Mac?
because I've never opened the app and I closed it before the start screen went away. So I've got a note from June, a note from March, a note from January, and then I've got 6 notes from 2023 and 4 notes from 2022. Yeah, we're not
Okay,
we're not
right.
using notes on the phone.
It's just to randomly write a thing down that you've got nowhere else to
Randomly
put
write a
it. Yeah.
thing down. Here's a fun one. Here's a sign of the times. This one has a title of ankylosing spondylitis, which is when I was trying to figure out what diseases I had. So let's just not look at those. I don't really care to look at those
Put that
notes.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, just put
I
that
don't have
away.
ankylosing spondylitis.
Well, that's good news. That sounds like you
Yeah,
wouldn't want to have that.
I
So
don't want that. The longer and more consonants in a disease, the worse off you're going to
bad
be. You
news.
don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do. Well, I guess where do you write stuff down? Do you have any organizational method, or no? You in Trello, or you're just kind of here
Um.
and there?
Well, Ian, one time I mentioned making a Life OS to keep track of things, and I got
You
just
did.
brutally ridiculed
Well,
on
but that's like
this very
5 years
pod.
from now. That'll be ready. What are you doing right now?
Obsidian.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
where I was going. I'm
I
trying
like
Obsidian.
Obsidian. Yeah. I do want to circle back to Para. I know you don't want to talk about it, but I want to talk
Okay.
about it.
We can talk about it a little bit.
I like Obsidian.
Mm,
Historically, like back in college, I was an Evernote guy, big into
mm,
Evernote. I drank all the Kool-Aid, listened to the
yep,
podcast. It was like Evernote is life. And then of course they just like went super downhill.
yep.
Notion, I can't get behind it. I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
it.
I've gotten off the Notion
There's like
myself.
there's the Notion culture, and then there's the
Mm,
Notion app itself. Notion culture, I don't enjoy. I'm not an
right.
enjoyer of Notion culture, where it's
Mm,
like everything must be prefixed by an emoji. It's like
Right.
life, and the life's got the big sunshine, and it's like work, and work's got the desk, and it's like I don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
then there's a part of the Notion culture that's like, I kept track of every bowel movement for the past 4 years, and this is what it taught me about my work habits. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then
Right.
there's the Notion app itself, where it just
Mm.
feels slow and everything is like this magical block instead of just like actual text. And you're
Mm.
like building out these complicated like databases and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to track my life that closely. So
Yeah.
Notion's a no-go for me.
I did like the so there's the like Notion, you sort of start to realize that it's really like the culture is like all of Notion to some degree in like a weird
Yes.
sense. It's like the
Yes.
YouTubers and
Uh-huh.
templates, and I'm selling a
Yep.
course, and like, and then like
Mhm.
there's all this stuff, but the Notion itself. Now I disagree that I love the block editor. I absolutely love the block
No.
editor. I wish everything had a block editor.
That's a
But
wrong take.
the blocks, like when you get, I mean, just for the text, it's even fine. But then when you get that next level, it actually all falls apart. Like the databases, all that stuff. It's like
All falls
none of
apart.
that is easy to use. It's all weird.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. And then, but it's
No.
all there, kind of in your way. So then, if
It
you're not
is
like
in your
really
way.
using it,
Yes.
then that's where it started to break down for me too. It's like I have all this stuff. I don't need all this stuff, and I don't even want to use the stuff.
I
And
don't
what
want to
do I
use
do
the
with it
stuff. Every
all?
time
And
I've been invited to a Notion workspace, it's like, here's 6 different dashboards that you can look at, and good luck finding the actual underlying notes where you're supposed to like go in and type stuff. I'm like, what's going on here? I don't want to do any
yeah,
of this.
yeah. So I bailed on the Notion. I'm trying Obsidian. It was a
What do you
little
think of Obsidian?
clunky. I mean, I literally just started this morning, like an hour
Okay,
ago. So
great. So we're fresh. So what do you
it
got?
seems fine. Getting the syncing, as you expect, since it's like, well, you can use it on its own, but you can add syncing, but you have to do that to like a separate thing. And so it was a little confusing to get the syncing working. I didn't understand a certain element of how they thought about it, but I got that
Okay.
straightened out. So things are syncing and it seems fine. I like the idea sort of plugins, but
Mhm.
sort of not.
Mhm.
I guess like I'm my security level of like, do I want to run somebody's random code in this thing? I
I
don't
forget that you think about things like that.
totally love that. But
I
I did
forget,
install
yeah.
one because I was like, well, I have this thing. It'd be kind of cool to have like ChatGPT in it. That seems maybe
Oh,
useful. So
cool.
I took the biggest ChatGPT, it's called Copilot or whatever. It seemed
That's
okay.
a good
The
idea.
interface is a little weird. So I don't know. That might not make the cut long term, but it seems reasonable for now. I haven't had a chance to move all my notes in yet. I just like got it set up. It
Yeah.
does seem okay. So we'll see.
I like it. I like that it's pretty bare bones. I like
Yeah.
that it's very customizable. I think therein lies a potential danger as well. You could spend all your
Right.
time dorking around instead of actually writing things down.
Yeah.
But I also like that underneath it's just plain files. Part of that is annoying though, because you are limited to Markdown, and Markdown has some like inconsistencies or like some oddities and some weird stuff. And like sometimes I want to name a file with like a special character, and Obsidian's like, nah, you can't do that. I'm like, well, you should keep track. Like you should
You should-
sanitize it and keep track of
Right.
it. But it's like, no, we're just writing to the file system. You can't do that. And so
Yep.
that's a little bit frustrating.
Mhm.
But I do like the writing experience is very nice and minimal and clean. I haven't gone super far into, and this is on purpose, haven't gone super far into like tagging and like
Right.
roll up notes and stuff like that, because that then gets to a point where you're like, I've built this system that is too hard to operate, and I'm just going to
Yep.
move on to the next tool. And so I'm like desperately trying not to do that.
Agree. Like I'm not doing any tagging. And the paramethod stuff doesn't have any tagging. I don't want any tagging. Every time I've ever tried to do tagging, it doesn't work for me.
You just
So
get wrapped
no
around the
tagging.
axle, and you're like, what do I tag this as? What folder does this go into? Like,
Yeah, it starts to get
what's
too
my
deep.
system again? And
Yeah,
then
right.
it's
Then you're
over.
multiple systems, like it's in a folder, but I'm also tagging
Yes,
it and this and
exactly.
the other thing, and like then you're like paralyzed every time you try to write anything down because like, well,
Yep.
it's got 14 ways I gotta organize this thing. I'm probably never
Uh-huh.
gonna look at again. So what should
Yep,
I do
yep,
with
yep, yep,
it?
yep.
Yeah, so none of that stuff. There was something along there. Oh yeah, the file system stuff, which I guess is sort of interesting. Yeah, I don't love that it doesn't have a WYSIWYG, although I do because I'm you could take away from my street cred on this, but I'm not really a markdown guy. I mean, markdown's fine, but I don't remember everything. Like, yeah, I know how to
Yeah.
bold, and like, I don't want to do the weird stuff for everything else that is required. I'd rather just have like a thing that I can push a button when I occasionally want to do the weirder stuff. But it's fine. I like how at least when you do the markdown, it doesn't show you the markdown and it hides the markdown after you do it, which is kind of nice. Because I don't want to see the markdown. That's like, I find it distracting to be reading something full of all this stuff. So that's pretty good. But we'll see. I guess maybe in a few weeks I'll report back. But
yeah, y'all hit us with your best Obsidian plugins or customizations.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Are you using their first party sync, or did you like try to home roll some goofy Git thing?
No, I just am using their sync.
Good.
Yep.
I feel like that's probably the best.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I guess you could put it in iCloud or something, but then I don't think their mobile app would work off that.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It didn't seem like it. It seems like the mobile app only works off their sync thing, I think. But yeah, whatever. It's like $4. I'm just gonna pay for it, and hopefully it all works magically. I mean, I like that. I mean, in theory, it's encrypted, local. I have set my own key, so they don't have any access to anything. Again, this is the kind of thing where I really just want Apple to work, because I really don't want to trust these couple guys to do this. Like, I mean, it's fine.
I know.
I'm not putting passwords in there. It's not the end of the world, but still occasionally there's things that I feel like should be secure. And I know it's like, I think these guys are well known and trusted and blah, blah, and it's fine, probably, right? But they're not as secure as Apple. So I just want it to be in Apple's world.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be in Apple's world, and whatever. I guess I have to deal with that. But it's very sad.
I think so. It just seems like Apple doesn't super care about their software that much.
So
and I thought the whole point was like, to make great software, you have to make the hardware. It's like, you guys did it. Now just make the great software. You did the hard part.
Yeah, it's like Notes. It's so, I mean, it's the thing they push all the time. Presumably a lot of normies are doing stuff in Notes. Like,
that's why there's no sync button, by the way, because the normies are like, it doesn't matter. I just need it. It just works, but it doesn't. But you don't want to show a sync button to a normie.
And then it's like, I put some bigger files in there recently, which I was like, it seems like a bet. Should I do this? They say they can handle it. Should I put a big file in? Not like huge, just like a PDF or whatever, right? Like maybe it's 10 megabytes or something. I was like, I don't feel like I should do this, but I'm going to do it because I'm keeping all my stuff. So I put the file in there, and now, whatever, a couple days later, I noticed syncing's not working. I can't find the spot where it's
clogged the tubes. Yep.
People are like, go through and delete large files. You get into all that stuff, and I'm like, forget it. I'm just done. Whatever. I'm not dealing with it. So that's where I'm at. That's
you're telling me after all this struggle and all this frustration, it doesn't have you itching to create your own system? You're not like, man,
opposite.
I would just love a system that works the way that it's supposed to work. And you know who could do that? Ian Landsman. Ian could write Ian's system. You don't think so?
No, definitely can't. I mean, just think about even the WYSIWYG part. I would like a WYSIWYG, so I'm going to add a WYSIWYG. That's 10 years of pain. Like, all the WYSIWYGs suck for the browser-based WYSIWYGs, right? They're all terrible. I've been literally paid for 20 years with my WYSIWYG we use in HelpSpot.
You're creating the universe from scratch just to make an apple pie. I'm willing to pull stuff off the shelf. Like, that's fine.
No, I'm not
going to create my own. I'm not going to create my own WYSIWYG. I'm just going to pull one off the shelf.
And I'm saying they're all bad. So right there, the WYSIWYGs are all bad. So you're already behind the 8 ball just on the WYSIWYG. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, isn't it fun how different people can be? That's what that's what one of my friends says when I tell him like, oh man, the new Fast and Furious movie is awesome. He just smiles and says, isn't it fun how different people can be? And it's like it's the most devastating thing in the world. It's, what it really means is you're insane. Right. That's what it really means.
Did you make any progress on your homegrown do everything?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit at a time. I am currently home growing some plants, so that's been my leisure activity recently. But on my homegrown system, I have been working just a little bit for fun on it, and I think it's going to be great. I really do. I think it's going to be very, very helpful. It's also, of course, expanded in scope. It's going to become, of course, naturally, it's going to basically become an amalgamation of like my operating system plus my aaronfrancis.com website plus like our Try Hard platform, like course backend. So it's going to be one app where it's like
Okay.
it does everything.
I don't like the sound of any of this.
I know,
this is
it's
getting
great.
worse. It's getting worse.
Better.
Wait
I
a minute. So
know.
you're gonna have
Yeah, tell me. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let me organize the
Yep.
slice of pizza I bought, right? And tag it and budget it and all this stuff alongside your course management system for your completely separate business entity Try Hard Studios.
Yeah,
those are
maybe
in
not.
the same
maybe
platform.
Not. Yeah, maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see.
It seems weird. I don't know if I like that idea.
Here's what needs to be. Here's what needs to be together. Like the information capture, knowledge management stuff, and the AaronFrancis.com website. Because what I need to have together is a place to like write articles, stage articles, edit stuff, and then publish it. And those need to be super tight together.
Yeah.
Whether or not the course platform is going to be on AaronFrancis.com. But I could make that a separate app if I wanted to, and just put it on a subdomain. But
no, those could be together. I mean, those make sense together. What doesn't make sense is budgeting your pizza. Like that, I don't know if it makes sense with this other stuff.
You're minimizing by saying pizza. You're making it's a built-in jab in the question, inherent in the question.
I don't think you should have your banking details in there. I don't know.
Why not?
Because it's weird. I mean, do you want Steve to have access to all your home budgeting?
First of all, I don't care. But second of all,
you don't care.
He wouldn't.
What about anybody? The next guy you hire.
It's going to be. It's going to be password protected. It's going to be. There's access control.
We have a thing right on here talking about Try Hard Studios hiring that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you want this rando in on your banking information?
Okay, that's my employee you're talking about when you say this
rando.
No. This is my employee. How dare you?
This is a cold tweet DM you got. Okay,
it's a great DM. It's a great DM.
That was a nice DM, but it's still random.
Nobody on Twitter is weird or crazy, so I don't have to worry about that.
That's true.
Not at all. No, like they wouldn't have access. They wouldn't have access to everything. But let's say, for example, this new employee whom we will talk about, they can go in and like take stuff out of podcasts and put in article stuff. Like they will have it's basically like a content management system, right? For the backend.
That's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that's obviously fine.
You don't like the fact that I want to budget at all. Principle.
Do you? I don't think it should be mixed in with your content management system.
Why not? That's the whole back end of my life. That's the whole thing.
One is the back end of your business. One is the back end of your personal life. These are separate things.
They're the same thing now.
They're not.
They are.
You are Aaron Francis doesn't mean both of them are the same thing. Just because they're called the same thing doesn't mean they are the same thing. I am employed
under the brand of Aaron Francis. I am not Aaron Francis. I am
only
an employee of the brand.
There's Aaron Francis Inc. and there's Aaron Francis the human.
We'll see. I think that's my way of getting out of it. I think it's all going to end up in one cohesive platform so that I can manage my life from a centralized place. I'm not going to 5 different places. I'm not. It's over. I've been doing that for 35 years. I'm not doing it anymore.
It's so interesting how different people can be,
How dare you? How dare you turn that upon me?
Oh man. All right.
All right. Where are we going?
Before we get to your hiring, we have 2 nice things to talk about together. Yesterday, I went to New York City with my daughter. Saw The Lion King. We ate at a steakhouse. We did a little shopping. Trained both ways. Beautiful little day. Daddy, I love you. This was great. All the good big heart stuff. Yeah, it was so cool. So great day in the city. It was a beautiful day in the city. It was nice out. It was fantastic. Lion King was pretty good. The beginning half was actually very good, and the back half's a little slow, but I think the movie's kind of like that too, so maybe
it is kind of like that.
Yeah. So that was good, and steak was good, and had a great time. So
how old's this kid?
11.
Oh,
she's
man,
the baby.
that's perfect.
Yeah, it's the perfect age.
That's so fun.
Taking the train into the big city, walking around, doing
Just
stuff.
You and her?
Just me and her, daddy, daughter.
Man, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it was really cool. So we tend to do stuff like this. We try to do it not as much as we should, but we tend to have these once a year we have a bigger adventure. This wasn't even that big of an adventure, but so this was a good little adventure. This is the kind of thing I always it's not like forget, but it's like the city is right there. Like it's like an hour and a half on the train. Why am I not utilizing this more often? And just like you get busy and you're like, oh, I can't make it down there. But you just got to force yourself to do it because it gives you access to so much more stuff to do than we have in my one dog town that's got
one dog town,
a movie theater and a mall.
I don't think that's like
the extent of it. I don't know. One stoplight town.
I don't know. I've never heard one dog town. We'll have to look that one up later.
We should look it up. So the city was great. It was awesome. And so then this is connected to a tweet you had, I believe it was a tweet, where you are starting to get New York. You're getting it because that's right. It was you found a video.
I would never put that out on main.
It wasn't public.
It was private chat to
you and
private. A few others. Yeah.
But you found a video that gave you the sense of New York City.
It captured the energy, and I get it a little bit. So we'll have producer Dave put the video in the show notes.
Yep.
But it's about, it's one of these like lifestyle van life. Guy drives to New York City to start his life over, and it's like he makes a bunch of friends, and they're on the roof somewhere, and the sun's going down, and it's like, I get it. Like I get it. The energy, I get it. It's very like the closest I've ever been to getting it is Casey Neistat videos. Like just watching him roll around town and just like, I get it. That part makes sense to me. And I think watching this guy's video that's just beautifully shot, first of all. So it's like, it's a little bit of propaganda because it's like, oh, this is as good as it could ever be. Watching this guy's video and like putting myself in his shoes, he's quite a bit younger, maybe 10 years younger, no kids, doesn't seem to be, otherwise tied down, and just kind of like going out to discover yourself. Like, I get that. That makes perfect sense to me. So yeah, I did acquiesce. I did concede the point a little bit, just to a small group that I don't want to hear on Twitter that Aaron loves New York City, because it's not true. But y'all go watch this video. Y'all go watch this video, and you'll understand, I think, why it spoke specifically to me. Like, this guy's going out to find himself, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, you are. So
this was a
plus
very
the trash
Aaron
cans, I'm like,
video.
I'm starting to soften a little bit.
Yeah, the video was super good. I feel like there's two pockets to me of New York City. I mean, Casey Neistat is almost like, he's like the master of the video to me, but he's almost like a little bit different. I don't know. It's a little something different about him. Like, this guy was like, yes, I'm 25 or 28 or whatever he is, and youthful energy. Like this, that is like peak New York City. Like 20s unencumbered in New York City. That's like as good as it gets, period. Right. And then the other zone of New York City that I think is super awesome is like post kids, like 55
I can see that
75, where it's like there's all rich. Ideally rich. I mean, if you're living in Manhattan,
when you're 24, rich, when you're 24, you can be poor, but when you're 55 in New York City, you better be rich, otherwise
you better have a few bucks, right?
Yeah.
But assuming you do, there's like all the cultural stuff. There's stuff going on everywhere. There's people, you have friends, and they're right around, and you can go do stuff and go out to dinner for 3 hours and whatever. Like, you have all that part of New York City that you could do. And the middle ground, I don't think even I'm like, I don't want to be like in my 40s with 3 kids in New York City. Like, you have to be even wealthier to do that. And then also, it's like trade-offs. Part of me does wish we did it in some ways, because it's like, I think the kids get a lot of independence out of it and stuff, which you just don't get on my cul-de-sac in the suburbs, which is unfortunate. But there's a lot more hassle in a bunch of other ways too. And obviously, like, it's super expensive and all that stuff. So, but yeah, this guy really captured, I feel like, that young going there to like find myself and find my path.
I love that. I think that's great.
That's the thing. I think I said this on here before, but I really think my business would be like 5 times more successful if I was just in New York City, because there's just an energy to it, like money,
purely because you would be different, not because there's like a better market down there or something.
No, it has nothing to do with the market. No, and not even the connections. Like, not even like, oh, I'd be near other software. Maybe somebody would have given me a leg up. Not even any of that. Just literally,
the Ian internals would be different.
Vibes, just the vibes and the energy of like walking on the street and people trying to get after it and all that stuff. Like, you just don't get that when you're in the suburbs. Like, oh, I'm at the grocery store and I'm doing this thing. I'm driving here. I'm
Everybody's
driving
old and
there.
boring and slow, and
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody's in their cars. Everybody's in their separate little coffin houses, not interacting, right?
Coffin
Like,
houses.
it's just like you maybe wave to your neighbor once in a while. That's kind of it. Like in the city, you just got all the juice. You're just energized. Like just being in there for a minute, you're like, you step off the train, you're like, oh man, yeah, let's go, let's do it. So much better.
I buy that. The closest,
Yeah.
in fact, maybe even more so, the time that I've been convinced about New York City was watching the Hamilton musical on Apple TV. I'm like, yeah, I should
Yes,
move to New York. I
they
should.
cover it. Yes.
I should move
Oh, I
there, and I
love
should start
Hamilton.
like writing and changing the world and stuff. And yeah, so I get it. There's a certain appeal to it.
Man, Hamilton. It's just like I was reminded. Me and my daughter went to Hamilton. It was 2 years ago now. We went down to see Hamilton, and I think I've seen it like 3 or 4 times in person. But it's so good. It's just like the
Man,
best piece of art ever. I just love everything. It does give you that New York City. Let's go get
yes.
it. That's like we can change the world. All those vibes are in Hamilton as well. So good. Love it.
Man, watching to and listening to Hamilton really, really actually does make me think I can do more. I can change the
Right.
world. I can do more.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's incredible listening to did you see Lin-Manuel in any of the
No.
performances? I've
Which
never even seen it live, so you got one on me, but that would have
makes
been
no
awesome.
sense how I missed it. It should be right up my alley. I like the history. I like the rap. I like the whole thing. And somehow I was just like not in the zone for it when it came out. And I was like,
Man.
I don't think I like this. Whatever. I'd listened to like 1 second of it or whatever, or read about it or something. And then then I got into it like right as they were leaving. Like I think the publicity kind of kicked up again,
Mm-hmm.
and so we missed. I saw it like right after they left, but not with them.
Man, I would have loved to seen it live, but I watched it on Apple
Yeah.
TV. I think we watched it on Apple TV during the pandemic, and it just like fundamentally rewired my brain.
Yep.
Like 100%. It's so good.
I mean, there's that. I don't know how if you listen to the soundtrack or how well you know it, but
Yep.
like in Nonstop, where they're
Yep.
going through like, oh, this guy wrote 5, he got
That's
sick.
exactly the thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, the other guy wrote 20, he bowed out.
Hamilton
Like,
wrote
Hamilton,
the other 65. And I'm like,
so
yeah,
good.
man.
You're like, that's it. It's
Oh,
it.
that's exactly the part that I was thinking
It's
of.
so good.
It's
It so
so
gets me
good.
every time. And then all that stuff, that's all the stuff they reference now. All the Supreme Court still references it. It's like this
Mhm.
guy just laid it all.
Mhm.
It's like practically on his own, like
Yep.
did all this stuff. And you're just like, man, crazy. You can get stuff done back.
You can still get stuff done. You just got to have enormous force of will.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not in the government. You can't get stuff done in the government. But like in
Right.
your own life, yeah,
can
you
do
can
it.
still write your way out. Yeah.
If you
absolutely.
have if you have the right note-taking framework,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you could do it.
As long as you spent 10 years futzing around with your notes, then you can
Right.
get out for
Right,
sure.
if they're
That's
syncing
definitely what it
correctly,
takes. Yeah.
then you're okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, what's going on with this hiring? You did it. You pulled the trigger, as they
We
say.
pulled the trigger. We have hired a person at Try Hard Studios. So yeah, I don't know what's going on over in your world. You're taking 8 years to sort through 1,000 applications. We're hiring somebody in a week. Yeah, so a few episodes back we talked about needing somebody to like basically be a executive assistant, office manager, chief of staff, operations manager, something like that. And I had a few people reach out from that episode alone. We never
Mhm.
tweeted about it or anything. Had a few really highly qualified people reach out. So they already passed the first bar, which is like they listen to the podcast, they know kind of what we're up to, right?
Done.
Which is hugely helpful to have
Yeah.
somebody that's like in the culture, so they know what we're all about. So we had a few people reach out. We took a few calls, and just really surprised by how good these people were.
That's
Honestly, it was great. And so we ended up going with a person named Kelsey, and she's on Twitter. We'll put her link in the show notes. But we talked to her. First of all, she sent me the best cold DM ever, and I think I shared it with you. But like the gist was basically she started with "I'm your next Linda," which is a callback, like it's a reference because I said, every title company in the US has a 65-year-old woman named Linda without whom the office would not operate. And so
Right.
she writes in, Kelsey does, and says, "I'm your next Linda." And I'm already like, "Oh, wow, that's, it's a
She's on it,
shibboleth, you're
right?
speaking the language." And then she says, something funny like, "But actually my name's Kelsey." And I'm like, "Oh, this is great."
Maybe she'll change her
And
name.
yeah, I'm going to call her Linda. But, so her deal is, she knows a lot of stuff. She's like, "Yeah, I've done some, marketing. I've written emails on behalf of other people. I also, just casually know SQL. I've been in atmospheric science, whatever, for like the past 10 years." I'm like,
Right.
it's just very much, one of our people that has a hand in kind of everything.
Right.
And so, we talked to her and we're like, "Hey, here's kind of some stuff we need done." Like, I'm on a podcast. Aaron, am on a podcast at least once a week, oftentimes more. And those podcasts like live for a second and then they're gone. And one thing that would be great is if you listened to every single podcast that I'm on and pull out topics that could be turned into written articles, and you could write the first draft of those, and then I'll go back in and write the rest of it, and then we'll publish it. Because like if we're doubling down on aaronfrancis.com being like a place for people to find out about courses and forums and all of that stuff, we just need more content there.
Yeah.
And I'm producing the content, it's just going into forums that are not long lived. And so we talked to her about like, "Hey, do you write?" And she's like, "I love writing. Here's some examples of stuff I've done. Here's some some roles I've been in where I've written stuff like frontline email support." So we get maybe 5 to 10 emails a day, maybe fewer than that, either course questions or like purchasing power parity requests, or sometimes like cold outreach for sponsorships and like people that want to do collaborations and stuff. And so she'll be handling all of that. And then there's just a bunch of normal stuff that you and I talked about several episodes back, where it's like, we need to have an email sequence when somebody signs up for High Performance SQLite and they don't buy. Like that,
Yeah.
we just need to send them, 3 or 4 emails with testimonials and why they should buy and stuff like that. We don't have any of that. We don't have emails after they buy that's like, "Hey, how did you hear about us? Don't you want to tell your friends about us?" That kind of stuff.
Right.
So handling all of that, I think, is going to be really helpful. And then even more stuff like putting a content calendar together to keep me on track of publishing YouTube videos. And like the mix of YouTube videos is becoming somewhat important, whether it's SQLite or Postgres or whatever. So making sure that we're hitting all of our marks there. So yeah, I talked to her, and it just sounds like she is in the space and has been for a long time, which is really helpful. She has a lot of varied talents, and by her own admission, she just loves like organizing and admin work and keeping things on track. And I'm just, yes, that's what I need. Keep me on track. You're now my boss. Congratulations, you're hired. You're my boss now. That is the goal.
Oh.
So I'm very, very excited. She'll start in 2 weeks. She is quitting her job, which is like, I'm terrified.
Wow.
But we've committed 20 hours a week to her, and she's got stuff on the side that she like wants to build. And she told me at one point that was like, my current job right now, if my kid has a soccer game at daycare during the week, I can't go watch him. And I'm like, "You're hired. What do we need to do?
Right.
You'll go see your kid, I promise." And so she's got stuff going on. But yeah, 20 hours a week for now. I hope that it will grow in the future, because that means we are growing. But yeah, it's very, very exciting.
That's so cool. That's yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great fit. Hopefully it works out well. It seems like we're off to a good start here. I love that listening to the podcast. It is interesting how the podcast has already gotten big enough where it's like that's a thing. Like I think at least 2, we're at the final 4 in my hiring escapade, and a lot of them, at least 2 to 3, but maybe even all of them, listen to the podcast. So yeah, it's just interesting how that's out there. And
one note on that, I will say, people, I'm thinking of Kelsey and another person that we had a call with, listened to your advice on applying for jobs. One guy, the other guy that we talked to, came with like a Dropbox folder full of proof of work. And it was like, we
Right.
were on the call and I was like, hey, have you ever done this? He's like, well, let me share this Dropbox link with you. Here's an example of when I did this. Here's a sample of when I did that. Here's some other stuff that I've done. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is really good. Like, you've brought proof instead of just telling me like, yeah, I promise I can do it. So
instead of one
they listen to you, Ian.
about
Yep.
yeah, here's I promise I did this huge thing. Here's one sentence about it. It's like, okay, but like maybe we could use a little more fleshing out, even in some way or another. Wow. So she's gonna get started in a couple weeks. That's seems good. I like the starting with the part-time, just as like, I think that's good for you guys to get a sense of like how much work it actually is. Or is she like drowning, or is there going to be extra time? Who knows? Like, see how much you can get done. I mean, obviously, presumably you'll be able to fill her hours, I think. But you never know.
The way that we're thinking about it right now is we've got like tasks that need to be done pretty quickly. And then we've got time absorbing tasks. So like every day she's going to need to go into the email inbox and like check on that stuff. And that's like,
triage.
Obviously that's number one. But then there's these time suck tasks that she could do, which is like, hey, unfortunately, I've been on 100 podcasts already. And guess what? You get to go listen to them. Yeah. Jeez. And so it's like, all right, do your stuff. And then, once you get through all the important stuff, like just grab a podcast, listen to it, make some notes, and see if we can get some written content out of it. And like even less squishy than that, like I just put out a YouTube video recently that should be a technical article as well. Like there's no reason that shouldn't be a technical blog post on my site. And so I think we'll be able to absorb all of her time. It's just a question of what's the split going to be? Like, which are going to be, like, is she going to spend 90% of her time, like, doing reactive tasks, like responding to people and stuff like that? Or is it going to be 50-50 responding / doing all this other, like, empire growth work?
Right. I like it. I think that's going to pay for itself quickly.
I think so. That is the hope.
Man,
that is the hope. She can...
Who else do you need to hire? Who else do you need to hire? Do you need more people to apply?
No, not right now. No, I think it would be really helpful. We actually have contracted with somebody to do some like technical writing, and I've already started talking to him about being sort of like a research assistant. His name's JD. He's very talented. He's in and about the Laravel ecosystem. I don't know if he's a Laravel developer or not, but he's very talented. He knows a lot about databases. He's a good writer. And so I'm having him help me with some SQLite articles. But I've opened the conversation with him about helping me do some of the Postgres research / outlining, because that's just really a massive undertaking to like do all of this prep work before I ever turn on the camera. And I think that would be really helpful. So that's the only other thing, but that's not full time by any means. And we already have him, JD's the guy for that. So please nobody send me DMs about wanting to work here. There's no more open positions. DM Ian instead.
I did get a few DMs about our app idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
We said don't.
I know.
Email, but they did email
about the contest.
Yeah, about the contest. So we haven't talked about that anymore. I don't know. I mean, I think this is interesting. I might have to wait for a few weeks on my end because I'm super busy, but still intriguing indeed.
I've lost you. Might have to wait for a few weeks because you're super busy, and then I lost you. Go ahead.
No, that was it. No, that was
oh yeah, you might have to. Yeah, that's crazy. You might have to wait. Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I didn't actually even read the ones I got. I don't know if you got any, but I didn't really go through them carefully because I have no brain capacity right now to do that. But probably in a few weeks I will.
We should
have to figure it out a bit.
Should try to make that happen in whether it's a few weeks or a few months or whatever. I think it would be very, very fun and make very good content. So
yeah,
we can't
early
forget
fall.
this one.
Yeah, September. Plus we can have producer Dave help out. He likes this stuff, and I think he could go through as a first pass kind of filter sort of thing. Although I don't know how many people. I'm torn on if we'd get that many. I think we'd get some, but I mean, it just depends on the parameters exactly a little bit. But Yeah, I think it would be good. So stay tuned. Don't say anything yet. We'll get back to that.
Don't send anything / stop sending stuff to Ian.
All right, popping off.
I did it. What do you think?
Popping off. It was awesome. I love it. I think like short format Aaron Francis, I really dig. I think that's like a cool starting to work more into that end of the world, not all the way down to like 20 seconds, but
Right.
definitely shorter than your standard,
Yep.
12 to 20 minute type of videos.
Yep.
So yeah, I really dug it. I like the seltzer review. My only comment, as I think I wrote to you, was just like I want to hear the can crack. I think that's a big, even if it's like added afterwards and it's like over the top. I think it could be even fun to do stuff like that, maybe, or
Yep.
it's artificial or whatever. But I feel like you want that can cracking in there. But no, I like it. I'm looking forward to see all the different seltzers you can come up with. I mean, that's
Oh
like my
man.
main impetus. I'm like,
I
oh yeah, going to
know. It's such a good hook. I think as we go on, so the story is it's a YouTube series. I'm doing very short tips, tricks, refactors, patterns, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And additionally added on top for giggles is a sparkling water / alternative soda, taste test / review. So I think as time goes on, it will become increasingly unhinged. Will become increasingly sophisticated. We might start breaking it down on, flavored, unflavored sodas, packaging, taste, whatever. But I think it's fun. I think it's a good shtick. I haven't seen it done before, which, I like. I'm trying to not imitate somebody else. I'm trying to do my own thing.
Yep.
Steve just like turned it up to 11 on the graphics and stuff. It's just amazing. He's so good at it. And people have already shipped me, I haven't received them yet, but people have already shipped me random, sodas and sparkling waters and stuff that I've never heard of. And so it's so awesome. I'm so excited. And that, there's an opportunity at some point to have like a mini site ranking all of them. And it's just, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. And I think it's like a good, the whole thing fits super nicely because it's, popping off. So I'm opening a soda and talking about, it's not really a hot take, but it's like a short opinion, a short, like, I mean, it's kind of a hot take, I guess. It's just a take. It's not a hot take, but it's like, here's what I think about this thing and why you should do it this way. And so I just feel like it's really nice and cohesive and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm digging it.
First step was good.
Yeah.
I think it's did it get were you happy with the reaction or the views and all that stuff?
Very happy with the reaction. The views were, I think the topped out at like a 3 out of 10. So YouTube ranks it on your last 10 videos and one is like the number one. So 1 out of 10 is actually good.
Okay.
So I think it topped out at like a 3 out of 10. So not my best, but like at this point, I don't know. There's a whole like side of YouTube where it's like YouTube craft or like YouTube stagecraft or something where it's like you got to focus on the thumbnail and the hook and this and
right.
I don't want to go super down that rabbit hole of like investigating or interrogating it too much. I kind of just want to continue to create whatever I want to create. And so I'm happy with it. Came at 3 out of 10, got 5, 6, 7,000 views or something, and so it'll probably top out around 10 in the fullness of time. But it's like, hey, that's great. We'll keep going.
Yeah, I'm sure there's this whole like the equivalent of SEO, but for YouTube of all the optimizations to really dial it up to 11 if you're trying to max it out fully. There's money giveaways and things like that. Go full Mr. Beast on it.
There's somebody I follow on Twitter named April Ann Alter, and her latest video is like, I spent 84 days analyzing YouTube thumbnails, and here's the best. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm happy for you. That's great. Her videos do well.
Right.
I just don't want to do. That's not what I want to do with my life. I don't want to like spend even, God forbid, a week thinking about a thumbnail for a video. It's like, I got stuff I got to do. So I think I'm playing the game a little bit differently and arguably a little bit suboptimally, but I enjoy my life. And so it's like, I don't want to do the other stuff.
That feels like an area though that someday somebody could do that for you.
I
Like,
agree.
especially the, like, thumbnails and stuff, it's
Yep.
like, whatever, you just make the video, somebody else figures out the optimal thumbnailing and
Yep.
titling and stuff, and somebody who's really good at that and knows all the tricks and whatever, and so then you can get that upside without you having to be the one who goes down the rabbit hole of figuring out all those things, but,
Yep. And
yeah,
this is either true or it's a comforting lie that I tell myself. And I'm not sure which one it is, but both feel good. I think I have grown on Twitter. I have grown a following by not playing the game,
right,
by not doing the tactics that normal Twitter people or like Twitter gurus would tell you to
feel
do.
like they have to do, yeah.
So I've grown a lot slower than a lot of the gurus, but I go now and I look at the gurus and their posts are just like they've got 80,000 followers and their posts are getting like 800 views, and
Right.
I'm like, wait a second, so maybe, and I tweeted about this a couple times last week, maybe doing all the tips and tricks and tactics is gaining you followers that, one, don't stick around, and two, aren't like, they don't know who you are, they're not invested in you, and
Yeah,
so it's like you grow a very diffuse audience of people that are like, I don't really remember why I follow this guy, versus, and this is either the true or the comfortable lie, versus what I have, which is better. That that's why it's like,
right.
maybe this is a lie. What I have is better, which is like friends, people that like follow me for like me, and not just because I did a great thread one time.
Yep,
So I'm hoping that maybe plays out on YouTube as well. That maybe I don't have the biggest audience, but I do have maybe a valuable or more compact and useful audience. So
yeah.
I don't know. Feels right, but yeah.
I mean, definitely on Twitter too. I think also when you have those things, if you're just optimizing for those ones that pop off, as we say,
Nice.
um, then you get like a ton of fake followers and stuff too, right?
Yes.
It's like, so okay, like you got up to 80,000 followers, but like how many are even actually real humans?
Yes.
You might be, it's a much lower percentage than like you probably have, right, in your following. So I think that's a big factor too, is like get people down the wrong path there.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there's that thing. I mean, part of it too is the engagement is like, even though tech Twitter is still somewhat alive compared to other areas, it's like just yesterday, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
news came out that like Twitter's, yes, they fired 80% of the people, but they also lost 80% of the revenue. So there you go. So is that a success? I
I
don't
did
know.
not
But
see that. They lost 80% of their revenue. Twitter
yeah, their
did.
revenue's down 80% from the last public quarter before they
Holy moly.
went taken private. So it's like everybody was like, "Oh, you could fire everybody; it'll be totally fine." Maybe it won't be totally fine. Maybe if you lose 80% of the revenue when you fire 80% of the people, that's not totally fine.
Well, I
That's
don't know if
I
those are
don't know.
correlated. I think those are
Oh, I
two
think there's a
those are
correlation.
two distinct events. He fired 80% of the people, and also 80% of the advertisers left because he's insane. I think
Yeah, that's
I
definitely
think
part of it.
they're
I don't
both
think that's the
tied
only
back
part,
to
though.
him specifically, but I don't
Right.
think because he fired people, revenue dropped.
I don't know about that. I think he's a large part of the revenue, so I don't think it's like, yes, 1 for 1 percentage wise. But I do think when you fire all the like salespeople and all the back
Yeah,
off, like,
maybe.
you say like those people don't do anything, but like at some point stuff is just breaking down, and like, yes, the site's still running, but you have all the account reps who are following up with people who advertised with you a year ago? Are they checking in with
Right.
them every month to be like, hey, we got this new thing, the Super Bowl's coming up, you want to be on Twitter for that, blah blah blah, like whatever. And maybe you feel like those people their value wasn't totally there, but they were still adding to revenue in some ways. So I do think Elon being insane is, of course, a
Yeah.
gigantic factor. But when you're talking about an ad sales business, like there's not a lot of ad sales businesses that run lean in terms of like low
Yeah.
head count. Like ad sales is kind of a high, even Google has a lot of
Even
head count
Google.
there. And
Yeah.
they're like ostensibly self-service, same with Facebook.
You can't even, you can
but-
never talk to a human at Google, but
Right.
and yet
And yet they have a humongous sales
Yeah.
department and everything else. Not probably to deal with you and me, but for the bigger brands and things like that. So yeah.
So
I
on
don't
the
know.
Death Spiral, Spigford,
Yes.
Josh Pigford, he's off. He's out of
I
there.
saw that, and he was
Yeah,
a full
he's
addict.
moving to Discord.
So torn on what to do with everything. It's like I definitely dislike where Twitter's going. I dislike supporting Elon. I dislike all that stuff. Obviously, our people are there still, and it's like nobody's left. Well, that's not even really true, right? Like there is this idea that nobody's left. But like when was the last time Taylor had a post that was like really something that wasn't just, hey, we released something or whatever, right? Like, or even Adam Wathan, or like a whole list of people, right?
I don't feel like Adam has been on Twitter in forever. I mean, yesterday
Right.
he tweeted that anyone with fewer kids than you is an idiot, and I was like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, you don't understand what we're going through. Yeah, I agree with that. Taylor tweeted, I think this morning. I think he clapped
something
back. Yeah, he said, just a reminder, Nova is for like back end admin panels or something.
Right. Yeah, sure.
And it's just like, here's what I don't actually know. Here's what I imagine happened. Christoph Rumpel put out a video about Nova, which I haven't watched. And then I guarantee you the filament stands showed up in the comments. We're like, oh, LOL, Nova sucks. Use filament instead. And then Taylor had to clap back and say, listen, Nova exists. Just use it for what it's useful for. That's my guess. That's my guess. One time I made a video about Nova and everybody was like, just use filament. I'm like, filament's great. I like filament. That's not what this video is about.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating.
They are. Yeah, that's a whole world. Those,
but yeah, they don't
everything that's going on there.
Yeah, Adam and Taylor don't use Twitter.
Hanging out, right?
No,
like, there's a lot of people were in this, and even just like they're obviously like they're huge accounts and very well known, but even in lesser volume wise accounts in terms of followers, like they're, are people really saying interesting stuff? Are they really interact? It's like it's all fallen off a little bit, but they're not totally gone like they are in other areas. But it's like, oh man, I was on Threads the other day on the way on the train home. I was on Threads. It was like, great. It was so nice.
Was
in
it?
there.
Why?
It was. I don't know. It was just like
federated?
the algo.
I don't even. What does it mean?
I don't care about the federated. I don't know anything about the federated. But
so stupid.
I just think they do a better job. Like the interface is nicer. The algo is better. Now it's a little. There's some. I mean, some people are a fair number of people were complaining about Threads on this, but I mean, I think for the tech people use case, at least the people I know who love their mute word lists and have muted all the politics and all that stuff. Like, Threads stated stance is that they are not going to algorithmically enhance political.
Powered through that. That was a tough one.
Posts.
Algorithmically.
So they're going to be more on like news and sports and like stuff from your followers and whatever. So, it's going to dial. They're attempting to sort of dial back the political end of things a little bit, which obviously if you're super into politics, maybe you don't like, but I don't know. So I think there's interesting stuff happening in other places, but obviously it's also annoying to have multiple places to check and all that stuff.
Yep.
I don't know. You're not even on Threads, right? Are we going to get you on Threads?
Nah, we're not going to get me on Threads. Here's what peak Twitter algorithm was. Maybe right before Elon bought it, it was like the For You feed was awesome because it showed you everything from your followers. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to show you 10% of your followers. It showed you like almost everything from your followers. It showed you a few of your followers, or people you're following rather, few of the people you're following replying to other people that you're not following. And so it was like, oh, this person that I have opted into seeing is replying to someone that I haven't. I wonder if that's an interesting person. That was good discovery. And then finally it was things that the people you're following had liked. And it showed you who liked it. Like it showed you why it was in your feed. It was like, oh, Ian Landsman liked this tweet. And it's like, oh, that's good. That shows me a little bit of insight into Ian. And also it shows me this new person that I may potentially want to follow. That was peak serendipity. That was perfect. And now it's just like, hey, watch this guy get killed accidentally. I don't want to see that.
That is literally so much of what it is. It's really like one line, hot takey, but obviously also not something the person actually believes.
Totally insincere,
like, insincere. Or like a photo of an actress. What is this? What do you think of when you see this actress? It's like just bullshit like that, and you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, it's so terrible.
What is going on? I'm
not going to Threads though. That
you're not.
Do you have the energy to do that?
So here's the thing. I
Yeah.
definitely don't have the
Yeah.
energy to rebuild or like in
No.
terms of like trying to get followers and all that
No
stuff, right? Whatever.
way.
But I want a Twitter-like thing in my life. I like when there's breaking news. I like having a
I
place
know.
that like is ahead of
I know.
CNN or your news channel of choice, right? Like there's just when tech stuff, like tech things happen, like people are commenting on it and it's like real time and that's fun and all that stuff. So I don't want that to be totally gone from my life. Twitter doesn't want to be that anymore, right? So
Mhm.
like what do you do? I don't know. Like that it's sort of hard. You can't just replace it with Telegram and
No,
Discord and
not for
whatever
that.
because I need a bigger group than the people I
Right.
know, right? So like it doesn't work to just be the people I know. So
That's
I
why
feel like
Twitter
I'm
keeps
gonna need
winning,
this.
because you go to any other like vertical social network and you lose all the stuff, all the serendipity of like the journalists being there and
Right.
the celebrities being there and the tastemakers in other fields. And it's just like, hey, we're just talking about Laravel validation rules over here. And I'm like,
Right.
that's not why I'm on Twitter. I'm not on
Right.
Twitter to just talk about validation rules. And so
Right.
that's the whole like, hey, why don't you join Pinkery or like this Mastodon instance? It's just for Laravel developers. And it's like, oh no, but you can federate it. And I'm like, you lost me so
Right.
long ago. I have no idea what you're talking about. So that's
Right.
the hard part. It's like they have this cultural moat. It's like this is where the people are, and it's just so hard to beat that.
But so this is why to me Threads is kind of the only real alternative because all right, the private groups, I'm in plenty of private groups. I don't need more private groups and I don't want to the people I want to follow are not going to ever be in my private group, okay? Right? So that's the private groups are their own little corner, but they're not the whole story. Then you get into like all right, regular Facebook, which obviously I can't go in regular Facebook, but
No.
even if I wanted to go in regular Facebook or Instagram, which I like Instagram, but they're fully algorithmic. So you
Yeah.
can't get the like just people I follow. Sometimes I just want to see the people I follow and not the algorithmic stuff, right? And or at least they're not easily. I don't think there's an actual way to do it at all, or not easily anyway. And obviously Instagram's like more photos, blah blah. Blah. So it's like okay, then there's Mastodon, which yeah, it's all federated or whatever. But like the people, other people are not on there. So yeah, it's
Correct.
federated, and I could in theory see other people, but they're not actually on the Mastodon network, so I can't.
And I'd be willing to learn about all that stuff, but here's the thing, normal people aren't. And so I'm not going to
Right.
invest a bunch of time learning how to do it when it's never going to be what I'm looking for.
So this is where the Threads is like. So if we're putting aside Twitter for a second, it's like Threads. All right, you have your celebrity types there, you have journalists there, you have other sort of people in the wider world there, and then you have it is actually connected to the federated Mastodon stuff. You don't have to know anything
It's
about
called
it
the
to just use
Fediverse,
Threads.
Ian. They call it the Fediverse.
You're good. It's got the Fediverse, so the geeky geeks who want to be on the Fediverse can be there and still read your stuff. So I like all that. I do think it doesn't like when you I haven't posted much on there lately, but when you do post stuff, it does feel like they really push the algorithmic feed heavily. And I do think, I don't know, it is a little bit weirder for the interactions. I feel like it's not quite as good for the pure tech interactions as
Mm,
Twitter still is. So there's something a little off there, but I don't know. I don't know how much longer I can take Elon though. It's like supporting this guy, even though I block all the ads and whatever. And it's like being on there and it's dying anyway. So between, if it wasn't dying, it's like whatever, you hold your nose, fine.
yeah.
Block Elon, great. But it's like I'm supporting Elon, which I don't love. It's dying. I have to see, yeah, everybody's getting murdered and
Yeah.
random stupid posts like all the time. The
Yeah.
algorithm is useless. I mean, every time, like, I use the minimal Twitter theme thing now, which has at least made it serviceable because it doesn't let you ever get switched back to the for you. So I never see the algorithmic anymore on Twitter. I only see followers, and that's
Yeah,
at least reasonable.
that's reasonable.
So I don't get
You just
you
miss
know
all the
all the other.
serendipity, which I get a
You
lot out
do.
of. I really
I
do.
know that's
That's the
the
problem. And I
trade
don't
off, I
listen.
guess.
I feel like there are two Elons. There's Elon, Twitter Elon, and then there's like SpaceX Tesla Elon.
Sure.
Twitter Elon sucks, and I hate
It's
him.
the worst.
He's an idiot.
Terrible. Yeah.
If he like, he just needs to log off. Like SpaceX and Tesla Elon, yeah, I know that people are like, "Wow, he doesn't know anything about rockets." Okay, well, he's got a rocket company, so he knows something
Sure.
about rockets. And oh, his timelines are always wrong. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But the stuff he does over there, I'm like, yeah, change the world, man. And then he gets on Twitter and I'm like, I am actively muting you and everyone that replies to you because you're so freaking annoying. And that's the hard part. Like I don't really have a stance on Elon in general, but Twitter itself is going downhill, I must admit.
So bad. And like, see, to me, those are like, it's more like SpaceX and Tesla. You are looking at a historical artifact, right? It's like Elon of 15 years ago
That's interesting.
was interesting and a good guy. I don't know if he was a good guy, but he was interesting. Who cares if he's good? He was doing interesting stuff. He was pushing the envelope. He's like, let's do electric cars. Let's send shit into space. That's cool. It's exciting.
It's cool.
That Elon of 15 years ago was that guy. Fine.
But you think he doesn't exist anymore?
No, that guy does not exist. He does
You don't
not
think
exist.
so?
No, I do not. I mean, look at what he's doing, right? Like, he bought Twitter. I mean, what's the most opposite thing of logging off? Not only am I not logging off,
buying the system upon which you log. Yes.
Yeah. So he's the opposite of logging off. And I mean, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do AI stuff too. Like he's just copying, right? Like, okay, their AI is getting big. I'll do AI too, right? Like that's like standard. That's like what we all do. Like, oh, hey, yeah, that's what the advice I give a bootstrapper. It's like you shouldn't invent something new. You should just copy what other people are doing.
Right.
Which is good advice if you're one person.
Grok is objectively stupid. I hate Grok. I'm just like, rip this out of the product. Here's my counter take is he's still doing insane stuff that I think personally is very cool, which is like the Boring Company. Yeah, let's dig tunnels. Why? Because tunnels are awesome. That's why. And like that's the Elon that I like, where he's like, man, this is crazy. What if we dug tunnels?
That's 10 years old though.
But it's still unproven. Like SpaceX and Tesla are proven going concerns that are operating. No. Boring Company is still this insane like passion project of a crazy billionaire. Like that's what I want to see more of, is billionaires doing crazy things that could actually turn out to be really useful.
I don't know, man. I don't think
I love the Boring Company. I love the Boring Company. I don't know, man. This is one of my things, and producer Dave, you have to leave this in here because cars belong underground, and Dave's going to be like, that's what subways are. Well, you know, we're never getting subways. I'm sorry, we're just not going to get them. Everybody wants their cars. We're going to have cars. So I don't know. I think the Boring Company is awesome.
It's not even that though. It's not even that. It's not like I can. No, it's not. I can't take my car down there. I have to get out of my car or whatever. I have to walk to this car station and get in this Tesla with a driver and go through this crazy claustrophobic tunnel. It's very bizarre. I don't think
seem like a nightmare, doesn't it?
Ad for Tesla, like that's what it is. I don't think it's an actual thing. It's like
it's a thing. It's an actual thing.
I don't know.
It's an actual
thing. Anywhere but Vegas? I don't think it's anywhere but Vegas.
I don't think there are any operations. I mean, they're testing in I think it's Bastrop, Texas, or somewhere in Texas, outside of Austin, because the soil is just right. But yeah, I don't think there are any fully functioning tunnels outside of Las Vegas. But Vegas just signed on for a bigger loop. They're doing more in Vegas. That's the part where I'm like, okay, it's fun. It's fun to clown on him for digging tunnels that then people drive Teslas through. Like, you promised me autonomous vehicles underground on skates, and I'm getting into a Tesla driven by a minimum wage employee. Like, okay, that's embarrassing. But then you have like the city of Las Vegas saying, yeah, let's do it again. We want more. And so that to me, there's something there that's like, okay, the people in power, they are seeing that this is a good idea somehow. And so maybe there's something more than just like dunking on, the memes of like, it's a Tesla underground, because the city council's like, yeah, do it again. So it has to be something, right?
Yes. I don't know. Like all the numbers around it are bad. I feel like to me, crazy Elon, billionaire Elon from like 15 years ago would have been like, I'm not going to sleep until we deliver something along the lines of the promise. Like, it's not just a Tesla with a dude in it. It's like, no, we're going to build some kind of special car, a cab. It's going to be something unique.
Yep.
It's going to be, why can't it be automated? Like, put it on a rail, whatever. It's going a known path. Like, why do I have to have a person driving? It's insane. Like, so I guess to me, it feels very mailed in. Like, oh, I had this idea. We started it, whatever. And we'll drive Teslas through it because it'll be an ad for Tesla. And I got lazy. I'm buying Twitter. I'm doing this all this stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems
Mm,
weird to be like, I think he has put way more thought and effort and hired better people and all that stuff for SpaceX, which does do unique things than
I don't know. I feel like
the,
we're still at the scale up phase of the
I
boring
don't
tunnel. We're still at the
know. You
beginning.
think?
Yes, they continue to actively
I
hire.
don't
They're
know.
building new tunneling machines, which is in and of itself very cool. And I feel like this is the part that most people won't go through. This is the embarrassing part, right?
Hmm.
This is the part where it's like,
Yeah.
should you pop out into the market with a fully formed business? Yeah, maybe, but like there's also a minimum viable product, and those are typically embarrassing. And the way that he's running the Boring Company right now is embarrassing.
Right.
But I don't know that many other people would risk the embarrassment and like the actual dollars and cents to get through this phase to what could potentially be super awesome. And so that's my take, is like he is consistently willing to be totally embarrassing, sometimes to like sometimes just self-inflicted, sometimes he's just an idiot. But it's
Right.
also like, yeah, we're going to crash rockets for 4 years, and it just, that sucks and is super
Right.
embarrassing, and all of my heroes, all my NASA heroes are telling me this shouldn't be done, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's like that's the part where I'm like, yeah, I kind of admire that. Good for you, guy.
I don't know. I just don't think that guy exists anymore, though. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
have to
don't
see
know.
proof that he exists, because, like, to me, it's like, yeah, the Boring Company was started already like 10 years ago, and it's on autopilot, and yeah, they're driving Teslas through there. Are they do? I mean, is there a market for like something between like a cheap subway system? That's effectively what they're building, right? Is like a real subway system costs billions of dollars, and you have
Mm-hmm.
these huge terminals and expensive trains and all this upkeep and whatever. And it's like, okay, can we do it on the cheap instead of building a full subway system?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so we'll do these little tiny tunnels and we'll just drive Teslas through them and whatever, fine. Um, but it hasn't changed since the beginning, right? I don't think there's been like any. I mean, the changes have all been backwards. Like it was autonomous. At least the Teslas were going to be autonomous, and they're like, well, now we just got to put people in them. So now
Their
there's.
digging speed has gotten a lot faster. I will say
I mean,
that.
they didn't invent the digging machines. I mean, the digging machines are a thing that
Well, they are
exists.
reinventing digging machines.
Are you
They're
sure?
building their own. Proofrock is their own design. That's part of the
Mm,
thing. Like the rockets, when he did the rockets, he's like, all right, we're gonna do rockets, but they have to land themselves. And now with digging machines, like, all right, we got to do digging machines, but they have to be an order of magnitude faster. It's like, holy
mm,
crap, that's a lot faster. And so there's work
hmm.
going on there.
Okay, I could maybe be convinced, but
We'll
Elon's
see.
still
We'll
crazy
see.
regardless.
He's still crazy. He likes to talk about the woke mind virus because he's got the logged on mind virus. He has got to
He's
log
got-
off. Y'all,
He's
you've
like,
got to log off.
if you don't have kids, it's the Holocaust. And like, whoa,
Like,
okay, that's
whoa, back up,
that's one.
back up.
Let's be
Yeah.
careful here. I don't know.
Yeah, and now he's talking about like the demise of Christianity, and I'm like, whoa, don't come over into our space. Like, we're good. We've lasted a long time. We don't need you to protect us. We're fine.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I don't.
Yeah,
It's
all
just
the
bad.
dog whistles to all the
Yeah,
to
it's
the
just
Christians
bad.
in big quotes on the Christians.
Big quotes. Big quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
All
Oh, I
right,
guess that kind of
enough
goes out.
Elon.
We're not getting
Producer
get on
Dave,
Threads.
don't cut
Just
that
get
out.
on Threads.
Don't cut that out, Dave.
We're not cutting
Cars
anything.
underground are good.
Just get on Threads. Can you get on Threads so I can follow you and other people can follow you? Just in case you want to be there, let people follow you. Who
I'm
knows?
on
Just
there. You can
make an
find
account.
me.
Are you?
I'm
Okay.
on there, yeah.
You have an account.
I have an account,
All right.
yeah.
Then I will
Yeah.
follow. Maybe I do follow you then. Maybe I thought you just weren't even on there
maybe
at
you
all.
do. Who knows? I've never
Maybe I'm already
posted.
following you.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more thing.
All right, hit me.
I did tweet about this, but just in case for people who don't follow me there, if you're ever in New York City, it's just a little tip. You absolutely must. It's a requirement. Go to Lost Tacos #1.
Yeah, if you know, you know. I don't know. What is this place? You tweeted a picture with no context.
So good.
Is it?
It's such amazing tacos. They're really just spectacular, especially the pork ones. They call it, usually it's like al pastor, right? They don't call it that. But
give us the name again.
Lost Tacos #1.
Los Tacos.
And there's 3 locations.
The taco that translates roughly to the tacos are #1. Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not a big
perfect.
Spanish guy, but I believe
Yeah,
that's
me
what
either.
they're saying. And they're just phenomenal, mind-blowing tacos. Like we went there before the show and we were gonna have dinner early. So we didn't want to like go crazy. So we just got one taco each, which is insane. And my
Ugh.
daughter was like, I mean, she just inhaled it. She was like, this is the best taco I've ever had. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's a fantastic taco. It's just like, there's nothing crazy with it. It's just like all the normal stuff for the most part, but just executed like level 10.
Street tacos, is that like
they're basically like
relatively small on corn tortillas?
Yeah, corn tortillas.
Okay.
Yeah, super insanely good. So if you're in Midtown, if you're going to see Broadway, whatever, you go to Los Tacos. They do have one downtown and one somewhere else. I have to say I've only been once to the one downtown. It was not quite as good. I don't know if I just hit it on a bad day or something.
The
but
one
at
downtown
Broadway,
is Los Tacos are number 2 apparently.
No,
so
they're Los
not,
Tacos
not
number 1
quite as
also.
good.
But the one in Midtown is unbelievable, super spectacular. Must visit if you're in New York City.
The people would agree because in the picture it was standing room only. There's a line out the door, and I peeked through the glass, and it was like people just crowded in there shoulder to shoulder. Which, by the way, is something I don't like about New York City. I'm very claustrophobic. But it looks like everyone else agreed that Los Tacos are number 1.
Yes, and it is standing only inside there. I mean, you can bring it out to the street or whatever, which I don't mind, but there is like this little tabletops for standing only inside that particular one. And then the other thing, Midtown in general is not necessarily the best place for food because it's kind of like businessy, and there's like steakhouses and stuff there are good, but there's just a lot of like it's a little touristy in areas and stuff like that, so it's not usually the best food area. But this is spectacular, definitely top food item in New York City. So yeah.
Who runs this place? Mom and pop? Private equity?
I think so. There's only 3 of them, so I think I don't know the owners, but I believe it's mom and pop-ish.
Good.
Anyway. Yeah.
Should be.
I mean, they're doing crazy volume. Like, I don't know. They're definitely printing in there.
So maybe the mafia.
Could be. How's your taco scene down there? You got...
Oh, are you kidding? We got great tacos.
It's good?
Yeah, we got great tacos. Yeah, well, when you come down, I'll introduce you to some tacos. We've got all kinds of good spots down here.
Tacos.
There's a taco spot on every corner, and that's just retail, to say nothing of like hole in the wall, gas station tacos. There's a gas station over by like 35 that Fuel City. When I worked at Ernst & Young, when I was a tax accountant working downtown in the high rise, me and the other freaking nerds would go over to Fuel City and get some Fuel City tacos from the window at the gas station. And man, wow. Fuel City has some good tacos, and it's literally in a gas station under an interchange. So there's like 6 levels of Texas highways right above you, 18-wheelers, and you're like, I just want some Fuel City tacos, baby. It's so good.
I am on board with that completely. That seems like my kind of place. I like that. I think we've discussed this before, but I feel like in the South, there's a lot of like chain restaurant vibe. Like, I don't want chain restaurant tacos. Yep. I want the gas station under the underpass. There's just some guy in there. He's slinging tacos, takes pride in his tacos, and they're delicious. That's what I want.
Yep. They're everywhere. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're in Texas. We're right next to Mexico. We've got great Tex-Mex. It's its own distinct thing. It's very good.
We don't have breakfast tacos up here. I'm pretty sure that's a thing down there, right?
God, yeah.
We don't really have breakfast tacos.
Rule. There's this coffee shop that I go to occasionally, and they bring in breakfast tacos from a taco. Like, this one little taco place delivers. It's just the smartest thing ever. They deliver, 50 tacos to each coffee shop or whatever. So there are all these coffee shops in and around this area where we live, where you can go and get like a hipster doofus craft coffee and one of these tacos that like and love. And so it's like, that's a pretty good business model. They show up at 6 a.m. with their their heated chest full of tacos, and then you can just taco at the Cultivar Coffee. It's pretty awesome.
Do they hold up okay? Like the shell doesn't dissolve? Okay.
No, each one is individually foil wrapped, and they're kept hot the whole time, and it's just like it's very good.
You know what I used to love? I don't even know. You might not even know about this thing. I don't know if you know about this thing. But when I was got out of college, I was working at Office Depot, and I was like opening stores. So we'd like go to stores that were under construction and like build the framework, not the like physical structure, but
just an interesting
shelving,
man. What an interesting man
stuff.
You are. I never knew any of this.
Yeah. So we're in there, and then you stock it's like takes a couple weeks to build up the shelving, and you stock it with all the stuff, right? Whenever you have a build going on like this, somehow, I don't even know how they know, but they always know these food trucks. They come around and they got they're like chrome on the sides and like panels that come up, right? And come with the panels, all these hot foods. And that food on that food truck, man, when you've been like working all day with like building shelving and stuff, and you go out to the food truck and it's like ribs sandwich, and it's just like barbecue saucy and like meaty, and it's like whew, so good.
Yep, and those are the real food trucks.
Yes,
we're not talking about like, you know, maple syrup chicken and waffles with a hysterical name, and the truck is a chicken. Like, we're not talking about that.
Not a ramen truck or something like that.
No. There's no pho delivery here. This is like
construction worker food.
Yes, this is a truck that could survive a nuclear fallout. Rolls up, throws open all the panels, and it's just like they put out like an A-frame board with all the menu on it, and it's like this is a food truck. This is a man of the people food truck. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So good.
Have I ever eaten one of those? No, but it looks great, and I've seen them before. Yeah.
I don't even know where they are. They're not just around.
They're mysterious.
You know? Like, yeah, they only go to like construction sites. I'm like, why don't you just park with the other food trucks once in a while and just make some money on a Saturday afternoon at the farmer's market or whatever? I would buy stuff. No, they're not there.
No. They know their clientele, and they show up when they damn well please, and not a minute before.
Okay, one other thing. Do you have
me.
ice cream trucks down there? Or like, you know,
ice cream trucks. Yeah, definitely.
Are they
definitely,
new?
Definitely.
All the ones about me are like from when I was a kid, and they're all like falling apart and disgusting.
We still have a few of the murder vans, the ice cream trucks that are actually vans, and it's like, oh, I don't trust this at all. Yeah. We still have a few of those rolling around. But yeah, we've got proper ice cream trucks, and then we've got the hipster doofus stuff that's like, what would it be, like shaved ice or popsicles or something like that, where it's like on trend. But you still have the ice cream trucks where you can like go and get a Spider-Man ice cream, and it's like, you know, $2
good humor bar.
Yeah. Bomb pop. Love a bomb pop.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, we've done it.
We did it. Another one in the can. We will see you all next week. Later.
You didn't even read us out, Ian. You're supposed to do the whole read us. What are you doing?
It's only episode 45.
Get it together. Pull up your Apple Notes. Read the readout.
I don't know. Is this all right?
We
Follow
got
us on
emails.
mostlytechnical.com.
We got an email from Mark about this week, next week. That is like a thesis. So we gotta cover that next time. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's gonna need more time. I gotta reread that thing. We got a listener sent in this completely insane dissertation about this week.
It's good. It's a good email about this week.
I'm not even talking about the content. Just that he took this level of time and thought is a little bit unhinged, but
it's great.
We do appreciate it.
Oh, it's amazing.
So yeah, we will put that in the notes for next week, and we will cover that in depth because that needs a segment.
It does.
All right, mostlytechnical.com at mostlytechnicalpod. Only on Twitter. We don't have it on Threads. We don't have anywhere else.
We're not federated.
That is the thing. It's a little hard to add them on Threads. I don't know if they changed this, but like you had to like have an Instagram and then connect it. Like you couldn't just like make a Threads account. I hope they changed that because I just want to make a Threads account. But I don't know. And then email us at mostlytechnicalpodcast@gmail.com. All right, now we can close up the show.
Now we can close out. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.